However, United's issues reach to the core of the organization, and their current sparse harvest has been due to several miscalculations over the last decade. It is naive to think that Erik ten Hag would immediately have solutions to these problems, and yet many have begun to question whether the Dutch tactician's methods will yield the same results in the de facto most competitive league in the world. United's issues are about more than just deficient tactics. Many of the Red Devils' problems stem from their current roster, primarily their back line and their holding midfield pairing of Scott McTominay and Fred. Ten Hag has taken decisive action to address this long-standing problem, with the recent purchase of Carlos Casemiro of Real Madrid. Casemiro is the first player of suitable quality in the midfield for the system that United has sought to play since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement in 2013. Many players have attempted to solve United's questions. However, Casemiro sits on a plane far elevated above the rest. Here are 5 immediate issues that Carlos Casemiro will solve for both Erik ten Hag and the United faithful. Playing the 4-3-3 with a holding midfielder is a luxury that is only reserved for the best clubs in the world. The system is predicated on the free-roaming ball winner in front of the back line, who must be at a world-class level. Defensively, his role is all-encompassing. He relieves confusion and tension for the 2 central defenders, who must account for either 1 or 2 strikers. He can drift to the flanks to provide support for his fullbacks. His presence is critical to maintain the integrity of the back line, who can communicate and coordinate their movements more effectively. United have been plagued by a lack of presence and dominance in the space since Michael Carrick's retirement. The fundamental advantage of playing a holding midfielder is that it allows for the formation to be played in its most effective adaptation. The fullback or fullbacks can push up and advance up the pitch with coverage from the holding man. The 2 central midfielders who operate in advanced space can act primarily as attackers, which allows for up to a 7-man attacking adaptation. As we discussed in our examination of Erik ten Hag's system at Ajax, his aggressive style of play was contingent upon having an excellent defensive midfielder in Edson Alvarez, who allowed for Ryan Gravenberch and Davy Klaassen to perform in a box-to-box role with primary responsibilities as attackers. Against Brighton, Ten Hag played Fred in this role, and it was quickly made very evident that this was a major misallocation. The defensive midfielder in the 4-3-3 must be tactically and positionally aware, to understand when to cover for his advancing back line, to understand where the vulnerable space is and cover it. He must be an accurate passer, and most importantly, he cannot give the ball away. By United's second match against Brentford, Ten Hag reverted to the 4-2-3-1. Even with Ten Hag's instructions in place, the same issues that have plagued United were on full display. And the Dutchman clearly noted that either a drastic system change would need to occur to accommodate for his subpar holding midfielders, or an upgrade would need to happen. Carlos Casemiro has a proven track record of success at one of the most difficult positions in the game. It is under Zinedine Zidane that the Brazilian would routinely demonstrate his quality. Under Zidane, Real Madrid went from a world-class counter-attacking side to a world-class slow, methodical side. Their build-up play was deliberate and involved more passes and movement. This was reflected by their possession and passing stats, which increased substantially, as did their goal and shot-creating actions. Casemiro's presence meant that Luka Modric could push up more often, and although Modric was not a conventional number 10, who principally occupied the hole, he could drift into pockets to deliver decisive passes, contributing to a Ballon d'Or and enormous personal achievements. Toni Kroos would normally operate from further back, as a regista for both Zidane and Ancelotti. Kroos could deliver precise and slicing vertical and diagonal through balls at both medium and long range, and over-the-top delivery, in addition to acting as a late runner into the box. At Ajax, Ten Hag combined a traditional chalk-on-the-boot style winger in Antony with a false winger in Tadic, who could vacate the left flank, providing space for either Gravenberch or Tagliafico to operate in, to provide overloads. At United, Ten Hag has players who are more than capable of this role, in Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho. Having one or two traditional wide men provides the system with fixed width, meaning that there will be dangerous internal attacking space that can be exploited. The impact can be increased with the advance of the fullbacks on either flank. However, without a holding midfielder who is tactically sound and aware, this is not possible. Casemiro offers substantial solutions to Ten Hag's current system in this regard. It is evident that United's frantic defending and lack of dominant ball-winning players has carried over to this season. It is easy to place the blame on the shoulders of the back line. However, their deficiency only tells half the story. The defensive line was constantly hung out to dry due to the fact that the reinforcements in front of them could not disrupt the offense in time. When the flow of the oppositional attack cannot be contained, and the offensive momentum cannot be slowed or stopped, this places substantial pressure on the back line, who are forced into open ball situations. Placing them in reactive defensive scenarios. This means that they must coordinate between each other in an instant, and determine who to take and when the right moment to tackle will be. When the defenders do not have trust between each other, and if they cannot coordinate between themselves, they will abandon their post to make the play. United's best tackler last season was Scott McTominay, who made 69 tackles, good for 31st place in the Premier League. This is simply not effective enough, as evidenced by United's record last season. If the defenders are less mobile, reactive defensive scenarios normally result in a yellow card and an opportunity for the opposition. Due to the gaps and spaces that arise while playing the 4-3-3, a dominant ball-winning player is imperative. And what we've seen by United so far this season is the result of a lack of such a player. Last season, United's tackling was atrocious and contributed to 57 goals against. This is simply unacceptable with a keeper such as David De Gea in net, who is beginning to show signs of wear after supporting United on his back for so long. Casemiro is characterized as a destroyer. He is guided to the ball with natural instincts and is a sure tackler. In fact, he has appeared in the top 10 for La Liga for both tackles and ball-winning tackles for the past 6 seasons straight. In addition to this, he has been consistent as a successful pressure point, routinely appearing in the top 10 for successful pressures. His presence in central space is critical to Ten Hag's success and will be a welcomed addition to a subpar defensive core, and especially David De Gea. With a dominant ball-winning presence in the center of the pitch, oppositional attacking movements must be more cautious through the middle. Casemiro's ability and tactical awareness is an ideal asset for the counter-attacking phase, as he can disrupt the attack, win the ball back, and then spring the counter. Both Zidane and Ancelotti's sides have been revered for their attacking balance of slow methodical build-up play and counter-attacking. Thus far, United have looked most fluid and dangerous in the counter-attacking phase, and this is unsurprising given the quality of their wide men. However, in the past, Ten Hag has preferred possession-oriented systems rather than systems that sit back and absorb the attack to spring the counter. As it currently stands, United do not have the defensive quality to play this system. However, Casemiro changes everything. If he can perform as effectively for United as he has performed for Real Madrid, the center of the pitch will be locked down, or at least better contained. Better still, the area can be contained with less men, ensuring that the attacking line is more poised in attacking positions, improving their reception points, thereby improving their attacking movements in the counter. Both Brighton and Brentford exploited central space to devastating effect against Ten Hag's United by devoting numbers and overwhelming the midfielders, who had little hope of regaining the ball. The Brazilian is also ice cold under pressure, occupying Real Madrid's top 5 for passes made under pressure since 2017, while maintaining a career passing accuracy of 86%. All of this translates into an exceptional player who can control central space and initiate shot and goal creating actions on the counter-attack. Rashford and Ronaldo are both finishers at speed, and in theory, they will flourish with a player like Casemiro behind them. Possession is an important facet of Ten Hag's philosophy and system. With a possession-based system, risk is mitigated and the match can be controlled. However, possession does not account for much if you cannot be effective with it. Against Brighton, United had 80% possession within the first 15 minutes, with only one legitimate goal-scoring opportunity. They finished with 67% possession against Brentford, and yet, Brentford finished the match with more shots and obviously, more goals. United have proven that they have the quality to play a possession style of play. However, both Graham Potter and Thomas Frank had answers to all of Ten Hag's questions. The ball was kept at bay on the perimeter in each match, with a lack of penetrating runs into dangerous attacking space. From the 3-4-3 and the 3-5-2, Brighton and Brentford respectively could fill the gaps with aggressive marking to nullify the space, making penetrating runs and passes impossible. Thus, United had to rely on late runs into the penalty box by Bruno Fernandes and shots from distance from Ronaldo. Ten Hag's prior system meant that Scott McTominay was caught in two minds, as he does not excel in either phase of the game and is not a true box-to-box player. Without a box-to-box midfielder to allow for smooth switches and decisive passes, the possession does not account for anything. Bruno Fernandes has also been compromised as a result of personnel issues, as he is a world-class offensive player who has been wholly ineffective. Without a proficient box-to-box player behind him, he has substantially more pressure placed on his shoulders as the primary offensive facilitator. The pressure has magnified his mistakes, only adding to the issue. Casemiro's presence will allow for several attacking adaptations. Ten Hag's wingbacks can push up substantially higher, inverting the wingers, thereby placing them in the dangerous attacking half spaces. This allows for both Fernandes and Eriksen to take up placements within the hole or within the box, working off Ronaldo. Additionally, they can drift into the dangerous attacking half spaces to contribute and overwhelm the space. Casemiro can guard vulnerable space, allowing for United to alter their modes of attack between width and central routes. Players like Sancho will also benefit from this, as the Englishman is a devastating dribbler, and he can utilize his dribbling ability to create time and space for Ronaldo and Rashford to poach. Gaps will appear between the lines for both Eriksen and Fernandes to continue to shoot from over the top, or utilize their vision and passing ability to create. If the opposition keeps things compact, then United can switch to a width-based approach for crosses into Ronaldo, who is still a dominant aerial finisher. Finally, Lisandro Martinez, who is an exceptional passer at all ranges, can deliver slicing vertical and diagonal through balls from over the top. Only teams with exceptional quality have the depth to alter their attacking methods in this capacity. However, everything rests on a player who is adequate enough to cover, compensate for, and guard vulnerable space. Casemiro is currently one of the world's best and contributes substantial value to Ten Hag's possession-dominated system. Playing in between two players of world-class technical ability caused many to overlook Casemiro's technical qualities. However, the Brazilian is an excellent and intelligent operator with the ball at his feet. He can deliver a decisive pass and understands when to switch the play effectively. Most importantly, he can control large zones by himself and deliver in the transition. This is imperative, as without him, United's 4-3-3 reverts to the 4-2-3-1, as the Red Devils wingers would constantly have to track back into the midfield to provide balance, in addition to having to provide flank support. This compromised them offensively, as they would have to compensate by dropping deeper to make themselves available to the back line. Cristiano Ronaldo would also have to drop deeper into the neutral third to get touches on the ball, and this is a normal aspect of his game. However, as he ages, this will become more and more of a liability to his well-being. Every Premier League team has physical and persistent defenders who will seek to put Ronaldo off his game and possibly even take him out of it. To ensure that he remains safe and healthy, it is imperative for the Portuguese ace to remain advanced and reserve his touches for the finishing phase of play in and around the box. Casemiro, who can control large zones and areas, allows for his central midfielders to push up and act in advanced roles, with primary attacking responsibilities. Luka Modric and Toni Kroos were able to flourish due to Casemiro's ability. Casemiro can be played with Bruno Fernandes in a similar role to Luka Modric, and Eriksen acting in a similar role to Toni Kroos. This would not be a major deviation to Ten Hag's current system, as Eriksen acted from deep against Brentford. Theoretically, Casemiro frees Eriksen and Fernandes to play more freely in the attack, and take more risks. Casemiro can act as the initial and primary link to the second and third tier, without the attacking line having to compress themselves to get touches on the ball. This leaves attacking players of tremendous quality in dangerous space, in the transition, and Casemiro's presence will allow for these transitions to occur more effectively. By signing Carlos Casemiro, Erik ten Hag has addressed an issue that has been at the forefront of United for over the past half-decade. Several players were brought in, with several hundreds of millions spent, to no avail. The amount that Real Madrid has commanded for Casemiro, at his age, and the amount that has been paid is extremely telling of how urgently this needed to be addressed. The holding midfielder is critical to the variation of the 4-3-3 that Erik ten Hag plays, and Manchester United now have one of the best in the world at the position. We will certainly have our eyes glued to the television whenever United plays, to see how this move will turn out. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon.